welcome once again to another edition of the Pizza Palace. Now, before we start having a bunch of fun and stuff like that, I do have one serious thing that I do want to get out of the way. I do wish, the best for the families and stuff like that of everything going on near Detroit with the Oxford High School shooting. Unfortunately, 3 students died. They did get the kid who did it, and that is very close to Detroit, about northeast. It's in the Thumb area if you're from Michigan, so you'll know where it is, east of Pontiac. But it's very close to where our home sports teams are, so that's very near and dear to us.
Super close to home, man.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I know for me growing up in the time when it felt like school shootings were becoming more and more prominent, it always just was like, well, this could never happen to me. This could never happen to my area. But this to be so close to home, and for a lot of people I saw online that knew people that were struggling with this and things that were going on. Quite frankly, it just, listen, at a certain point, thoughts and prayers isn't enough.
100%.
And I'm fucking sick of it. And so, because, thoughts and prayers doesn't give these people their children back. Things have got to happen. And I just hope more communities like those in Oxford don't have to suffer like this, because Jesus Christ, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been very frustrating for a very long time. Like you said, when I was in high school, it started to kind of happen somewhat frequently. Once I was, I think, a junior or a senior. And, it just kind of became part of it, and it sucks. I remember actually there was a bomb threat at our school, and we had to spend the whole day fucking around in the gym, not sure, if we were in danger or not, and it was really a whole thing. So,
right.
But yeah, we haven't really had this in Michigan, and it's unfortunate that we've kind of gotten to this point now. So, thoughts with everyone there, and I just felt like I'd be remiss if I did not bring that up.
I appreciate you doing that.
Absolutely. But we are here for the Pizza Palace, as always, your boy, Robert Winstanley, and of course, my co-host, Sean Murphy. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing...
Should we have the mental health cast? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Our viewers aren't ready for that.
Listen, Mike, there's only one subscriber. It's my it's my therapist, and we meet every 2 weeks, and I have to pay him to do it. So, but in all seriousness, no, I'm doing pretty good, man. Just keeping busy. Definitely keeping busy. 100 subscribers we hit on this channel this week, which feels, thank you. It feels, it is unbelievable how hard it feels to get to 100 subscribers on YouTube.
And you've put in all the legwork up to this point. I mean, I've only been on the channel for a pretty brief time at this point, and Troy has obviously been on for a little bit, and all that kind of good stuff. But you've put literally all of the work in. So, absolute congratulations to you, my friend.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, it feels really good. And thank you to everyone that subscribed, honestly, because holy crap, I did not realize how hard that would be. But hey, you know what? We're here.
We are indeed here.
Mama, we made it.
We made it.
Here's, I'll practically be Mr. Beast by next week.
Yes, totally. We can spend $5 million on a Squid Game thing.
I already took out I took out the loan. I signed for it.
Whatever Bishop's about to do, I don't like the looks of it. My man looked with lethal intent at that entire thing of plants.
Hey, you know what? He's just laying down now.
He's vibing. Yeah, I got so scared. He looked right at that thing of plants, and I went, oh, no.
I don't think you could see it in camera, but just right out of camera shot, Bishop is quintessential vibing. So.
Dude, he could have just caused a huge disaster in the apartment, but hey,
I mean, here's the thing. Cats are literally on the verge of causing disaster in whatever place they are in at any given second. So, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
But, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't, because cats know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
They know what they're doing in a really sinister kind of way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's the thing. On one hand, they know what they're doing. But on the other hand, they know what they're doing.
100%.
The intent is full there. You know what I'm saying? He literally, his life is pissing me off and letting me scoop his shit.
You know who's very similar to that? his name is LeBron James because he knows exactly what he's doing. He's here to piss us off, and you're scooping up his shit, I think, or something. I don't know where that one fits in. But the point
they did beat us both times.
They did, which is unfortunate. But yeah,
Listen.
and he very we're going to get to the Pistons part of this right away because I watched the tail end of that game.
6 in a row.
It's not great.
No.
It's not what you want. But
No.
the thing that bothered me more than that was watching LeBron James full on Patrick Mahomes pitch a basketball into the side of Sadiq Bey's face and just be like, ooh. Like, dude, no idea.
Only LeBron, man. I saw that, and I literally thought in the moment,
though.
yeah, not a dirty player. That play cracked me up because it was quintessential LeBron. But
100%.
also, listen, we're gonna be fine. We played significantly better when Killian got in the lineup, and quite frankly, we competed really hard against the Lakers.
Oh yeah, both times.
Yeah, as of when this episode will release, we will have already played the Blazers, which is tonight as of our recording.
Yep.
So, I'm expecting that's going to be another competitive one. But listen, we got Oklahoma City coming up. We got our schedule does ease up quite a bit here. And
That's nice.
This is our longest road trip of the year as well. So after this, things should get a little easier for us. Plus,
nice.
Listen, it might not seem like a big deal, but losing Kelly Olynyk is a huge deal.
It's changed the vibe, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, listen, you didn't have another big on the roster that's NBA ready. Let's just be real. There's a reason why the Pistons would rather play Trey Lyles at backup center right now than Luka Garza because listen, this
Here comes the slander.
All right, but let's have a real conversation though.
Yeah,
Luka
100%.
Garza's not NBA ready. You know what I
isn't.
mean?
Yep.
And listen, I think Luka Garza would probably be one of the first people to tell you that. So, I think I am sad for him that he's missing opportunity to develop with the Motor City Cruise.
Yeah,
However,
why is that?
Because
Is it because he's on our bench, just sitting there doing fucking nothing?
well, he's there. Yeah, he's with the team, which is beneficial because you're traveling with the team. You're with the coaches.
you
You're
probably
practicing
practice with them. Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely practice with them. So you're still getting reps. It's just in the G League, you're getting so much more playing time. Just so much more. You know what I mean? So, people bash the G League like going there is some death sentence. No, a ton of players went to the G League and made a career for themselves. So,
I feel like they're trying to develop it into being like AAA baseball because it's obviously not quite that, but they're kind of developing it into that where every team except for the Portland Trailblazers has a G League team, which you can kind of send guys down to and this and that, whatever. So
yeah, well, not only that, but also they're doing very similar things in the sense that Klay Thompson, he just got assigned to the.
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, he got assigned. He got assigned to the Bay City Warriors for rehab. So,
him and
James Wiseman.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is something. Detroit was actually the first team, one of the first teams to do this. Actually, back when Brandon Jennings was coming back from his injury, they sent him to the Grand Rapids Drive to go do rehab there. So this is becoming a pretty common practice. It's just,
which I think it makes all the sense in the world.
yeah, and that's why people were freaking out when Cade, Cade was quote unquote assigned to our G League team for the first couple weeks of the season because he was just staying back to focus on getting better and ready to play. And people were like, "Oh, Cade's a bust. You got assigned to the G League." Literally, all he did was stayed home and practice in the same practice facility that he's in every single time.
Yeah,
he just practiced with the G League guys. That's literally all it is. But,
yeah, it's just becoming AAA. When guys
100%.
Giancarlo Stanton gets hurt for the Yanks and they send him to Wilkes-Barre, it's not like they did it because they're like, "Fuck this guy, he's now a AAA guy."
Right.
Yeah, and it's becoming the same thing, and I like that.
Yeah.
The only thing that sucks about it is I feel terrible for every single team that has to play Klay. That is so patently unfair.
Listen,
it's so fucked up.
Listen. I hope Klay puts up 40 in the G League.
Bro, he's going to torch him and he's going to get 65. Are you shitting me?
He's not going to play that much. Listen.
They're going to limit his minutes, but goddamn.
Plus he hasn't played basketball in 2.5 years, so we'll see. But listen,
I don't think it matters. He's Klay Thompson.
I'm inclined to think you're not wrong. So, but yeah, no, I'm excited to watch that. But no, yeah.
Me too.
So back to the Pistons.
Yes.
Really, really rough couple of games against the LA teams, we just can't shoot the ball.
Yeah, a 6-game slide is not good, and obviously Pistons fans, like, it's one of those deals where you walk a fine line as a fan of a team that's rebuilding, because it's like you want to talk about your team because you're passionate about it and you love them.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're not doing anything well, you kind of inherently criticize them.
Yeah, you're not complacent. You're not satisfied, so you want to see overall change.
Yeah, and more than that, it's just like you don't have anything to talk about except negative. And so you kind of suddenly end up in this weird balance of like, if you complain, then everyone goes, oh, we're a rebuilding team. What did you expect us to do? And, and shit like that and whatever.
Right.
And there's like that whole crowd. And then you get the crowd who's like, oh my God, our guys suck. They're not shooting well. Cade can't hit fucking anything and this, that, and whatever. Like you get both extremes or whatever. And it's kind of hard because it's like, they're both kind of right in a way, in the sense of like you're watching something.
Neither of
and
them
you're just
are
reacting.
wrong. Yeah, neither of those sides are wrong, because it is like, because here's the thing: the truth's in the middle. Like I watch a game, I'm like, oh my God, we're bad.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh yeah, but I also wanted us to be bad. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
kind of what it is.
It is the thing of, you can't, as an NBA fan that's going through a rebuild, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And the cake's also still in the oven, so why are you asking? Also, the oven hasn't shipped yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like one of those things where, listen, you know when they say it's over when the fat lady sings? I mean, she just left Nutrisystem. Like we're gonna have to destroy her self-esteem to get her to become fat again, so that eventually she can be a fat lady that sings. You know what I'm saying?
Jesus Christ. We have to put her in a toxic relationship where she's gaslit so that she gets fucking morbidly obese and has no self-respect and then sings for some reason.
Well, yeah, it's over with the fat lady. I feel like I love that I went super detailed on the piece of her relationship with food, but as her relation of why she sings had no correlation or any thought. No, it didn't, and it doesn't.
It just had everything to do with her weight and how she got there. I at least, hey, everyone's got their story. Oh my God. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense because the Pistons are an abusive relationship.
Did you just go full Kermit the Frog there for
a little bit? But no, they listen. The Pistons are an abusive boyfriend. If we're being real, all they do is hurt you.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense.
But also at this point, if it's like an abusive boyfriend in the fact that like, oh
and
honey,
it gaslights you into thinking that you're going to be good.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like, listen. Oh, honey, you didn't learn? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, if you haven't learned he's an abusive boyfriend yet, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's like every girl, it's like oh, my boyfriend's the worst. But then like the next day you see him on Instagram and you're like, bruh.
Yeah. Like we should do a list of like describing every team in the NBA if they were an abusive boyfriend. Like the Lakers is just the boyfriend that just doesn't give you any attention and buys your happiness until it goes away again.
That's somewhat fair. I was going to say, I feel like the Lakers are kind of, they're like a celebrity boyfriend. You know what they're like you know what they are?
They're Leonardo DiCaprio.
Sorta, but they're almost like a Jake Gyllenhaal. You know what I mean? They're like unbelievably hot and like this and that, whatever, but occasionally they take your scarf and don't give it back and make you sad and you write a 10-minute fucking song about it and go on SNL and cry about it.
I was gonna say they're like Leonardo DiCaprio.
The second week in a row brought up the Swifties and they're coming after us. We did mention them before, didn't we? I thought we did.
We might have.
I don't know. We just be trying to get some fire, getting some heat from the Swifties.
Not the Swifties.
But no, back to the Pistons though. They're so hard to talk about because of how unfun they are.
Listen, I was gonna say we have a bit of a rabbit trail problem.
We do.
And then that anywho, basketball. Yes, Pistons.
They're hard to talk about because of how bad they are. But to the point though, it reminds me of, as a Yankee fan, I've been seeing a shitload of people online freaking out that we haven't made any moves. And while I get it, because it's like when you see other teams making moves, you immediately get like that itch, because it's been a minute since baseball season, and so you're like, oh my God, I want to see things. But realistically, like, we're about to hit a big shitty debacle of like, the new collective bargaining agreement and all that. Who knows how long the lockout's going to last and how shitty it's going to be, what's going to come out of it, all that kind of stuff. So that's like a whole disaster. And no deals can be made during that anyways. And so then once the lockout is done, then that's when teams are going to trade, because no one's going to start trades until then. So it's like...
Well, and here's the other thing, too. It's just the one piece of it is, it's the missing out syndrome, but it's also everyone thinks they're a GM. So like...
Oh, yeah. That's...
So like...
Yes.
So, like, I remember when I was a kid, I would be like, man... I remember when LeBron was going through the decision.
Oh my God, he should go to the Pistons.
Yeah, why?
Why wouldn't he?
Exactly, like middle school Sean, or like half of NBA Twitter's like, why don't the Pistons make a run for LeBron James? You know what I mean? Like you go like, because then
look at this team of nothing.
Yeah,
they would love it here.
Like, listen, Detroit, There's a Bennigan's close by. He'd love it here. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just one of those things where you just have this irrational, like, well, why wouldn't he come to the Pistons? If I was in the NBA, I'd want to play for the Pistons.
100%.
You know what I mean?
No, I definitely get that.
It's so like people don't understand salary cap or market value or like literally
anything.
What an asset is and how you have value as one. You know what I mean?
Or the fact that the 2005 through 2017 Pistons were the equivalent of like a Perkins restaurant.
I'm sorry. Let's pause.
Yeah.
What?
You know what Perkins is?
I know what Perkins is.
Okay, great. It's like a super mid-tier bullshit restaurant that you're like, and you're kind of not sure how they're in business at this point. You know what I mean? Well, now they're not.
Okay, let's adjust your timeline a little bit.
Are you sure 05 to 2017? That's pretty close. I mean,
no.
We won the championship in 04.
Yeah, and then we went back to the finals in 05. We won 64 games in 06. We won 59 in 07. In 08, we traded Chauncey. So 09, I'll give you that.
All right, fine. 09, but like 64 games, this guys. Let me know when you guys are like...
This man just called my childhood a Perkins restaurant.
I mean, it kind of was, but like, if we're being real. But like, what was I gonna bring up? The fucking what was it? I was gonna say, what was your best record? 62 and something or whatever.
We went 64 and 18 when I was
Well, let me know when you go. What is it? 84 or 89? What did the Bulls go? It was like where they only lost like 6 games or whatever.
72 and 10.
72 and 10. Let me know when you go 72 and 10. You piece of shit. I don't know. That's all I got for you.
Just watching your mind collapse through that entire thing.
Listen.
Like, the second you called them a Perkins,
uh-huh,
every other thought went out the window.
100%.
You were so giddy with that one analogy that your entire mental capacity just shat.
But listen, I feel like the fact still remains that it's pretty accurate.
So Pistons.
So the Pistons. And then we're kind of... We're like the new restaurant that's coming, you know? We're like the Krusty
Krab 2.
Ah, that sucks. How about we're like... We're like the new On the Border or like Qdoba or something like that came in that's like not quite found the right staff that gels yet. Like the restaurant is inherently better than Perkins, but like some of the staff still kind of blows, so you're like eating it and you're like, this still isn't quite Chipotle. Like it's alright, but like, you know, you're still waiting for that good rotation of staff. Have you ever had that at like a Subway or whatever? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, because I feel like there's a couple places on... Well, I'm not going to dox us, but there's a couple places nearby where it's like the staff is sometimes amazing, and then for like 6 months it's dog shit. You know what I'm saying? Never mind. The point is...
Listen, by fascination, is that generally when you're explaining an analogy, you're not explaining the inner workings of the restaurant. You're explaining the inner workings of how this Pistons team is like that.
But
thing.
it is. It's like the staff that just hasn't gelled yet. You know what I'm saying? Like we got the new package and stuff like that. It's like we got they went back to like the sort of Bad Boys era logo. They like
you could just say the Pistons just haven't gelled great together yet. How much?
Listen, and we need some superstars for sure, though. For sure, though, some superstars are going to help. But because, this team will gel eventually, I'm sure. I hope. God, please. But, like, they need a lot of help. What is your assessment of, like, the next 2 years for this team? Because going over the last 6 losses, it's just kind of like, what is there to say other than we competed hard, which is what we say after every single loss, because that's all the Pistons know how to do is compete hard and then lose. So, like, but what does this team look like, with a realistic trajectory?
Let us look at the rise of Chick-fil-A or another restaurant.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding. No. Listen, they've been clear what the vision is of this team, right? I mean, the vision is we continue to get assets, we continue to rebuild and get better, and after, in a year or two, when our salary cap actually opens up, we go and get veterans and we get guys on our team that can help and be those missing pieces. You know what I mean? It's not really this is the plan. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I just wonder, like, so my question is, since I'm somewhat new, obviously, to the NBA, and I've seen rebuilds in other sports and I see how they work. But, like, with basketball specifically, I just wonder, like, this team, how many games did we win last year? Like, less than 20 or around 20?
It was like 24, I think.
Something like that, right? And we're projected to probably do about the same this year.
Well, I mean, maybe about the same win percentage. I mean, listen, we're, I think 30 games is 35 games is a fair ceiling.
Like wins this year?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe that's a little too high. I'd maybe go like just under 30, but
yeah, I'd say probably under 30.
Something around there. I mean, listen, we're on a 6-game losing streak right now. We're gonna go on a winning streak at some point.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So, you're not just gonna have 4 wins as a team forever.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, how many do the Rockets have at this point? Is it still 1?
3.
3. Oh.
Yeah, they won 2 in a row. Look at them.
Wow.
Miracles can happen.
I guess. But I guess my question here is just like, so how does a team go from dog shit and barely able to cross 25 wins to playoffs and actively beating great teams, based on the current plan that we have? Is it that players just get suddenly a lot better than they are and they're just able to consistently hit the shots, and then the team, even though not a lot of personnel changed, they just suddenly can hit and now this team is amazing and we win? Or is it that some of them kind of do that and some of them kind of don't, and you mix in some veterans and some of those guys end up being more of good bench players? Or like kind of what is your...
Yeah, that's a good question. So really, it's really more so that second scenario where you mix in guys on this roster with veterans that you bring in, because just as much as you're developing guys that are going to bring your team future success, you're also developing guys that can bring you future trade assets to go get other guys too. So let's say, for example, if you're asking like what players do I really think will be here when it comes time for us to be winning,
starting players is I think what I'm somewhat interested in, because I think there's some guys that you can make a case as like he'll probably be like an amazing bench guy, but he's clearly not like the starting. But who's our like pinnacle guys for the starting lineup?
The core 4. I'd say the guys we've drafted over the past couple of years. I'd say it's Isaiah Stewart is definitely a part of that. Killian Hayes is definitely a part of it. Cade Cunningham is most certainly a part of it, and Sadiq Bey. I think Jeremy Grant is a question mark.
I think he's probably a trade piece of some kind.
But listen though, like because people are starting to say he's a trade piece. He's still super young. He's a guy that can go get you 27 on a night if need be.
Oh, I love him. I don't want him off the team, but I do think he's the type of high-end asset that you're going to kind of need for like a big name.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it depends.
Unless it's a guy that's just disgruntled and wants out.
Well, it depends on what you're going for, right? So, if you're looking at like, if you're say trying to go for a guy like, my dream scenario, if we could bring in a guy like Brandon Ingram over the next couple of years, who plays for New Orleans
Yep.
right now. Feel like that would be a great kind of guy to bring in. Someone by that point who will be a bit of a veteran, but also still has like room to grow and is like a solid scorer. I certainly think that. I certainly think Jeremy Grant is probably our best trade asset right now, but at the same time, he's not a guy I'd be quick to trade. So it really would have to be worthwhile in return. But I will say, I think my head, like everyone else, here or there. You know what I'm saying? Like, like there's a lot of guys on that bench unit we love, right? Like Frank Jackson, I love having him on my team.
Sure.
Listen, he's expendable, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like literally anyone I didn't just name out of those four guys, other than Jeremy, are expendable.
And I think of those main four, I think that two of them are somewhat question marks enough to where I would say that they might be like a really high-end bench guy. Someone like...
Yeah, Stewart.
Yeah, Stewart's is my main one. I just don't know that he can be like that dude on the starting lineup.
I mean, I think as of right now, the only way that would ensure that he is a starting center going forward is if he develops his offensive game at all. Because right now it's just showing that he's very good defensively.
Right.
He's average on the boards and he's below average as far as scoring ability.
100%.
So I think I just think he's not big enough to be a rim running center.
Right.
He can kind of be shut down easily because of that. And I think you have guys, I think having a more dynamic big man is going to help a guy like Cade and Killian tremendously. And I think Killian is the other one where, listen, here's the thing. People talk about his shooting. He's the number one 3-point shooter on our team right now. So,
which isn't saying a lot because the team is sucking massive dick when it comes to hitting literally anything.
But it's saying a lot.
But it is saying something.
It's saying a lot for Killian because of the fact that people are saying
yes.
that. Yeah, we get a Bishop sighting. Listen, like people are blaming him a lot for like offensive struggles, but it's like,
sure, he's
not the problem. Now listen, he's sure as heck not always a part of the solution because it could just feel like 4v5 when he's on the court a lot of times. Let's just be honest. So ultimately I'm really interested to see what that ends up being. I would have thought that like a perfect example for like a guy that we're going to try to bring in is like where DeMarcus, like
yes
this is staying in.
Yeah, leave him.
He's just made his first appearance.
He's vibing. I love it.
We're keeping it.
Yeah.
But anyway, dang it, that cat made me lose my train of thought.
Yeah, you were mentioning Killian. And I was gonna say in there though is that I think Killian and Stewart are my two biggest question marks as far as like starting guys, and I think Stewart more than anyone, and it's never really a knock on them, and I get it. They're young, which is every Pistons fan's favorite go-to, and it is true, and I get that, and they have time to develop, but I do think that he's somewhat shown that I think he's going to be an amazing guy off the bench, but I just don't know that he's going to be like that lead center that we necessarily need, depending on how the rest of the team shapes up. I think Killian's going to be somewhat similar, where he's going to be that dude where, like, when all of our big scorers aren't on the court, he's going to kind of need to be that dude off the bench, because you need to have that guy. Otherwise, your bench goes out there and you get fucked because you score nothing. So, like, it happens.
I see where you're coming from, but I still think it's way too early to make that definitive of a judgment.
110%. I think more what I'm saying is, if I had to say now, that's what I would
if you had
predict.
to guess, if you had to guess based off of what we've seen. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, that's and they could turn around and be amazing, and then those are our guys, great. But like certainly, if I had to guess, that's kind of the guys, because I think Sadiq Bey just kind of needs a little more support around him and more consistency, and I think he'll be fine.
But here's the thing, and this is just something that I think is a big misconception. I think a core piece of your team can still be a sixth man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I think people hear that and they're like, oh well. What are you talking about? Stewart's not one of those guys that's part of the, like, he absolutely is, but like the thing is that his value might be best as a sixth man. There might be a lineup where we need to have like a more dynamic five, and that's just the way it is. So especially if you're going to build a team around a guy like Cade Cunningham, you're building a team that's positionless from the top down, which, I mean, every time you see Killian and Cade play together on a court, the vision of that backcourt is very apparent, especially from a defensive standpoint.
Yep.
They are frightening together. So, I saw that Lakers game that everybody else saw, and I know people were upset when we were losing. listen, that first half was fun.
Oh, absolutely. I think both games were really fun to watch all throughout them, especially also with the fight and all that fun stuff. But besides that, the basketball product itself, I mean, it was really, really fun to watch, really competitive, and I think that the team played really, really well against a really tough team, although the Lakers, as of late, have kind of had a bit of a stretch, but,
You know what else has been a really fun team that played a really good game that I had a lot of fun with? Hail to the victors as we hail to the victors as we hail to Michigan. All right, so I knew you weren't going to want to bring this up.
Oh, it's okay. I'll let you have your 5 minutes of fame.
All right, so first of all, Michigan, we finally did it. Jim Harbaugh brought us over the hump, over the top. We finally got it.
It's about time his khakis did it.
But even better, Brian Kelly.
Oh, you fucking piece of shit. Fuck you.
Hail to the... No, I'm kidding.
Fuck you. Fuck Michigan. Fuck everything. No,
dude, the photos that came out of him having that team meeting this morning
oh my God.
were rough.
Yeah.
Rough. First of all, if you have a meeting with your team letting them know you're leaving and you get in a car 11 minutes after the meeting...
Yeah, it didn't last long.
And you're ditching them, like, in the middle of their season...
Making a playoff run or trying to, because I think that the rankings come out tonight, and the last time we were 5th. So
what a slap in the face.
I think we were 5th. No, we were 6th. Michigan was 5th.
I understand if you took a job, but you don't need to start. I mean, but the thing is, you do kind of need to start right away. I get
it, but fuck you, Brian Kelly, you piece of shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. As a man, it's such a tough pill to swallow because so when I was growing up as a kid, I grew up with the Charlie Weiss era of Notre Dame football, which was not exactly a good era.
No.
And,
it was great for me.
Yeah, fuck you. And yeah, you had some great eras all throughout, growing up. You guys had Denard Robinson at one point. Yeah, fuck you. But yeah, so Brian Kelly's been great because we've had the opportunity to finally win a national championship potentially since 1988, and we still haven't gotten over that hump. And it felt like we just kept getting closer and closer and closer. This year was a little bit of a down year, it felt like, and not really having a solid QB and all that kind of stuff. And then he just kind of up and bails, and it's like, what the fuck, man? And
yeah, literally at the worst time.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, but at the same time, having a little bit of time to kind of sink in with it is it's one of those deals where I'm like, Brian Kelly got us almost there, but maybe we need a different guy to get us there.
Maybe you need
to win the national championship finally since 88.
Yeah, I feel like,
if you fucking, I swear to you, my brother mentioned him to me this morning, and I was like, I will dive headfirst off a bridge.
I
swear to Christ.
I'm just saying.
I don't think I can root for Notre Dame until that man
Urban Meyer's on the table. He's on the table.
If he is the coach of Notre Dame, I'm done.
Listen, he's at the table, and they're not just flirting; they're dancing on his lap, and he's appearing to have a great time with it.
I hate you, bro. I just listen. If Notre Dame hires Urban Meyer, it's going to be very tough for me to be excited unless we were to win a national championship.
Full jokes aside, it's not going to happen. You're not that prestigious of a school. Let's be fucking honest.
I will murder your entire family.
I'm being dead serious, by the way. Listen,
are you insane?
Listen.
They're a top 5 school in the entire country with prestige. Are you insane?
Listen, with prestige and history, yes. But here's the thing. No, I'm serious. Here's why Urban Meyer will never go to Notre Dame. I'm dead serious. Are you ready?
Okay.
First of all, way too hard of a school to recruit at. You have to get guys with really good grades.
You can't be a dumbass.
You also can't have them partying. They're going to a Catholic school.
Correct.
So right off the bat, there alone, if you can't get idiots in the classroom, Urban Meyer's out. No,
idiots
I'm dead serious.
And partiers, yeah.
I'm literally, he is not high character enough to be a coach at Notre Dame. I mean,
true.
This is being dead serious. I'm not even joking.
Okay, that I agree with, but that is very different than having the fucking prestige, you cunt.
Oh, that was just a joke.
Yeah,
I did that to piss you off. It was great.
Cunt.
Dude, there's going to be people in the comments, too, like the 1 or 2 Notre Dame fans out there. You're going to be really mad.
Because it's like Alabama, Michigan, Notre Dame. I'm trying to think of like the other like big. I guess Georgia at this point, kind of. Oklahoma for a little bit there. It used to be Texas, but Texas has fallen off.
Which, hey, Lincoln Riley, USC.
Yeah, USC, which I am beyond livid. This has been the worst week of my life for sports because Notre Dame's biggest rival has just suddenly gotten everything you could possibly want handed to them, basically.
Oh, they're gonna be a national title contender,
which
in like
is
a few
frustrating
years.
as fuck. Notre Dame is now kind of left trying to figure out what the hell happened, and
which their head coaching prospects are not great.
They're not like
I mean, listen, it's also the worst time. Apparently, not the worst time to be hiring a coach because apparently it's the best.
Everyone's just doing it.
Yeah, hey, Oklahoma and Notre Dame are they're gonna have quite a time. But
so whoever we can somehow steal from someone. But yeah, I don't know. Man, yesterday for Notre Dame news was not great. And then finding out that we'll slip into the Tigers from this point because I feel like we more or less covered the Pistons.
Go Tigers!
Go Tigers! Although I was gonna bring up that
I'm excited to see Brian Kelly's first Go Tigers. He's just gonna be like, Go Tigers!
I'm a little bit glad that he's gone though because I just hated him as like a person. I liked him as a coach because he was winning a lot, but I just couldn't stand him as a guy.
Did you know he's originally from Grand Valley?
Yeah, well, that's where he originally was the head coach, brought them to prominence, then Cincinnati, and then to us. So, which now we're looking at the Cincinnati coach again. So fun.
And now to LSU.
Which great, but whatever. If Urban Meyer became the head coach though of Notre Dame, I think I would.
Don't worry, it's not going to happen.
Tough time.
Let's talk Tigers, shall we?
But yeah, the Tigers. Well, first I was going to say that the Pistons rebuild. I was going to bring up the Bulls because I feel like I have been trying to figure out how a rebuild works in the NBA for a little bit of a while.
Yeah. So let's wrap up this topic. So the Bulls are not the conventional way. I'll just let you know. Detroit is really, really very much looking forward to going more of not like a Philly route, but more like a Brooklyn Nets route, where they,
God, I hope not.
Okay, you're thinking of things I'm not. Like when I say the Brooklyn Nets model, you build through the draft. Because let's be honest, they built their team through the draft. All of their guys that other than Kevin, Kyrie, and James, like, are all homegrown talent.
Didn't they have to give up some of their best homegrown talent for those guys, or no?
To move money around, they had to let Spencer Dinwiddie walk in free agency, but they did a sign and trade. They had to let D'Angelo Russell go. They had to do a trade to bring Kevin Durant on. So like they used some of those assets to move, in order to bring some of these guys in. But I mean, listen, the other thing too, it's just that piece of. But when they're ready to win, they bring in those other guys. The
big guns.
They bring in the big guns. So I'm not saying we're getting a Kevin Durant. I'm not saying we're going to get that caliber of a guy. But the idea would be that in the next couple of years, we have some salary cap. Let's get aggressive and let's build a team.
Yeah, and that's very much like so. That's more of the possibility that who knows? No, everyone said who's going to want to go to Brooklyn, even though it is in New York, and that helps a lot. But it's also like the shitty secondary New York team. It's not the Knicks.
Well, but also the Bulls weren't supposed to be a free agent destination anymore.
Exactly, and so you never know. We could end up with something big. And the Bulls, I feel like their rebuild kind of got lucky because they were clearly horrendous at drafting and had no idea what they were doing. And then they were just like, well, fuck it. We're just going to throw it all at the wall and see what sticks.
They were like, hey, the Zach LaVine guy, he's pretty good. Look, we should build around that guy. Like, hey, let's do it.
Well, and we kind of had said previously that the Bulls were kind of pulling a Detroit Pistons when they got Blake Griffin and, Derrick Rose.
Which, by the way, Blake Griffin is now out of the Brooklyn Nets rotation.
Whoops. But real sad about that. Yeah, man, I feel like the Bulls were I predicted them to be in the same position where they were going to add some guys and it wasn't really going to work out. Kind of like the Pistons were like, maybe they get cute, make a playoff spot, and then get killed by the Bucks, and then it's just kind of, But they've worked out way better than what the Pistons did with the Blake Griffin thing, and that's just luck in a lot of ways.
I mean,
that talent was way younger.
Well, the Bulls team is also way better than the Pistons were with Blake Griffin. Way better. Literally had 3 stars. But anyway, Yeah.
And they're all, like I was saying, they're all young, though, too, is the thing that helps. Because Blake Griffin wasn't exactly, like, super young at that point anymore. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But I do like that kind of concept and sort of looking to see how that sort of shapes up and stuff. But similarly, the Tigers, though, a lot of Tigers fans were freaking out about, whether or not they were going to get Carlos Correa and all that kind of stuff. And while it's not technically impossible because they could go all Rangers, I've heard some Detroit fans trying to say, like, oh, we'll get both like, the Rangers did. And I'm just like, well, that's not going to happen because they're not going to spend money.
If the Tigers wanted Carlos Correa,
they would have done it.
They would have gotten the deal done to get Carlos Correa.
But the thing is I look at it from two different perspectives because they're both kind of true. Is on one hand, they cheaped out and they did the typical Tigers thing where they under-deliver on their promises and they pick up a guy who's lesser because he's cheaper and because they're not ever actually serious and they're just kind of like, fuck you. And that's kind of a very Detroit way of going about things. On the other hand, it's one of them things like Correa's going to get a 10-year, probably $350 million contract, which is fucking huge. And while the Tigers, every Tigers fan wishes that we were like the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, like teams that have all of the money in the world to just go for it. As much as we are like one of those premier franchises, or so you'd like to think, at least historically speaking, we're just not. That's just not what happens.
Well, listen, man, it comes back to the have your cake, eat it too. Because here's the problem: the same people that are saying we should be signing Carlos Correa right now are the same people that are screaming to get Miguel Cabrera off of our team. And why are we paying him all this money? And how are we keeping this contract for so long?
Yeah.
Listen, it's one of those things where that kind of contract is just a really risky, difficult thing to do. I don't think this is our one signing ever. Like, I don't think Javier Baez is like the final piece of the rebuild. I think,
Well, they've added some really good pieces, to be honest. They got a really great catcher.
Well,
they've got themselves a good pitcher. They've got themselves now a good shortstop, on some level.
And here's the thing, too. Like, yes, Javier Baez is not Carlos Correa.
No.
Not claiming him to be. But Javier Baez is by no means a scrub. The guy
he's not like complete dog shit. Well, I'm not even saying that to be like sarcastic or rude, but I'm just saying like his hitting is really bad. Like it really is. Like when he's hot, but like 90% of the time he's really tough to watch in general. Especially like towards the end there with the Cubs, he was really bad, and the Mets he sort of pieced it together last year, and he was kind of trying to figure out his role with what's his nuts that he used to be on the Indians, who's now there. I'm blanking on his name for whatever reason. I can see him with his hair and all that. But anyways, like...
with his hair and all that.
Well, he has, like, he dyes it all the time. He's, like, one of those, he's got, like, the long hair kind of deal going. It doesn't matter. But the point is, because, like, fuck the Mets. Like, really? But anyways, the point is like, Baez is an extremely, extremely mediocre hitter. He can get hot, which is cool. His defending is kind of more why they signed him on some level.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Especially since just about anything is better than what the Tigers have as far as defense goes right now, especially
his
in the infield.
Power numbers, though, are second among shortstops in the league, though. So even though his hitting might not always be the greatest.
When he hits it hard. And he hits a home run, some of the time or whatever and stuff like that. But yeah, when he goes through droughts, it's like, Jesus Christ. But I mean, listen, there's a reason it's a 6-year, 160, 150 million.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why it's significantly less than pretty much everyone else that was on the market. But
it's still a big contract.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not bad. Well, you know what I'm saying though, because like
you really do not like Javier Baez.
No, I really don't. I think it's kind of not a great signing, but it works for them and it doesn't. He's going to be a serviceable shortstop. They're not committed to anything huge. It's not really that much money in like retrospect, because a 10-year 350, that's a lot of money.
Well, yeah,
that's
course,
nuts.
Yeah, of course,
and that's what Carlos Correa is going to demand. And so like if you pick that up, they have the money to do that, and they're going to have more money once Cabrera's off the books and things like that, whatever. So they have that money to play with. It's just, kind of, do you want to do that right now? They've kind of taken a bit of an interesting approach where they've picked 3 guys that are really good, but by no means a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just going to add to an already solid team that won 77 games last year.
Right.
And this could very easily put them over the edge to at least make a wild card, especially with talks of a playoff expansion now.
Yep.
So you never know. So, and also they're in a weak as fuck division. I mean, the White Sox are kind of an up and down clown car, and the Guardians exist, and I don't even barely know.
The Guardians do exist.
They do now exist. And
Cleveland
then there's like kind of the rest of them.
Guardians, we exist.
Although the Royals are really good when it comes to pitching, so I mean that's kind of going to be a bit of a struggle as they kind of come up. But yeah, in general, listen, I like what the Tigers are doing. I think that they're being really smart and going about the rebuild in a good way. But when you look at it from like the fan standpoint, I can understand the frustration when it seems like your team is getting good and you're like, hey, there's someone available that our coach likes that we can definitely sign, and then they cheap out for a significantly lesser player. I can understand how that is unbelievably frustrating.
I'll be curious to see where the Carlos Correa chip falls, because I mean, listen, it's not definitively not Detroit,
right?
But
technically speaking,
but he's going to be a Yankee. He's going to sign for over $300 million.
That's what I think too. Yeah, I think it's going to be a 10-year, $350 deal with the Yankees because they can afford to throw away that kind of money. They just can. It doesn't matter.
The Yankees have fuck you money.
They do, although they haven't been using that money since about 2009 almost is the last time they were using fuck you money.
Oh, but they'll start.
It's been a while.
Because the New York Yankees, fuck you. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing that frustrates Tigers fans even more, and I am very sympathetic to it, and I understand, because it's like you see that you can have this thing, and in your own league, in the American League, Correa is likely going to go to the Yankees, and you got Javier Baez instead, and the Yankees are going to come to town with Correa, and he's going to hit a fucking home run blast in Comerica Park, and every fan's going to be sitting there going, what the fuck? Especially if and this probably won't happen, but let's just say Baez starts off slow, right? Which he did last year, and he has the last few seasons. He's not been stellar. So Baez comes in, he starts off real slow. It's not great. The Tigers generally play the Yankees in the first month, maybe month and a half of their schedule. And Correa goes there, hits a home run, and Baez is on like an 0 for 16 streak or some shit.
Right.
Tigers fans are going to lose their fucking minds. And I get it. I'm sympathetic to that cause, man. I get it. And like, I know that it's very spoiled that, Yankees fans right now are mad that we haven't gotten Correa, even though we probably will. It's like, hey guys, settle down. We're just waiting. Because I think that the Correa thing, I don't think he signs probably until sometime mid-January, maybe even towards like February 1st.
Right.
I would say that's probably about as long as the deal might take. Just being honest, especially with the whole lockout and everything. Plus, they're going to do some trades for potentially Matt Olson from the Athletics and a few other trades that I've heard and stuff like that. So, like, the Yankees have a lot of room to go, so fans are just bitching about nothing. But it's funny because it's like seeing both fandoms and being part of both fan bases and being able to see how they react to things. It is sort of funny that, like, they're almost the same in how they get mad about things, but one is mad about how many superstars we aren't signing as we already have Giancarlo Stanton, Garrett Cole, and everything else. And the Tigers fans just want fucking one. They just want one.
That's why we hate the Yankees, man.
And so, like, I get it, man. And that's why I hated the signing, not only because it's objectively not a great one, but it's also just like you had Trevor Story and Correa available. Even if they didn't go Correa, they probably could have gotten Story for 7-8 years for maybe $250, something like that, and that's perfectly reasonable, and he's 1,000 times better than Javier Baez. So it's like one of those things where I'm just like, I don't love it. Now, they could also do that, because honestly, those two contracts combined would be about like a Correa in a way if they can work it out just right, and you throw, Javier at second base or whatever, Story at short, and then, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the plan is to throw Baez at second and to maybe do something. But, I mean, we'll see. Listen, I don't hate the signing as much as you do. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think Javier Baez is
Well, you're a Detroit fan, so.
No, I literally told you earlier today that Javier Baez is one of my favorite players in baseball. So
I don't know how that's possible.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to a new segment.
I just feel like it's interesting to me just because I'm just like, obviously I'm not with you all the time, so I don't know like what your viewing schedule is like. But like, how many fucking Cubs and Mets games were you watching, man? Because I got to tell you, if you were watching a lot of them, your favorite player in baseball was not Javier Baez. It's super fucking.
I also just don't. When the Tigers aren't good, I give way less of a fuck about baseball. So that's just the other
fair.
thing.
And that's totally fair. I know my dad's the same way. I know a lot of Detroit fans in general check out when their teams aren't good, except for the Lions, because y'all are psychotic. But like, it's just one of them deals where like, Hey man, I do get it, but yeah, I you know, obviously I'm more of a Yankees fan, but I do like the Tigers and I wish them to do well, and I've been excited to see the path that they're on, and so I was really, really fucking bummed out to see that signing because I just wanted more, you know, and I do understand the Detroit mentality of like, God damn it, we never get anything, so it is very frustrating, but at the same time, who knows? Maybe he'll turn around. I mean, he was a runner-up for MVP a few years back with the Cubs. If he can return back to that form, then we look like geniuses, and it's great. And he's got a super team-friendly contract, and it's amazing, and I look like a dumbass. But he has to do that, you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens and what other moves that the Tigers make. But I am glad that they've picked up multiple pieces instead of just diving into one and getting nothing else. So, you know, go Tigers, I guess. But, yeah, as for the Lions, though, they didn't win on Thanksgiving, unfortunately. And they didn't look good doing it either. They looked bad losing.
They were dog shit.
Yeah.
It was the worst game of football I have ever seen, as is every game I tune into now.
We're in the Campbell's corner.
Campbell's chicken noodles suck. Listen, man.
Yeah.
I have been defending Dan Campbell on this podcast for weeks. And then I see one of the worst coaching displays in Lions history.
Well, that's a bit harsh, but yeah.
No, it's not.
Y'all have had worse losses.
Maybe, but this one's bad.
Yeah.
First of all, to have two possessions in the game that you get a scoring touchdown by throwing the ball upfield, and then on both of the following possessions to get multiple holding calls to the point where you get to 3rd and 32 on both drives. And then...
Well, that's not Dan Campbell's fault.
He is the play caller of our offense.
Yeah, but he doesn't make for, like, the penalties, though.
It's a discipline thing.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, it's a discipline thing. I don't know that that's necessarily, like, entire... Well, anyways, continue.
It's dog shit coaching. And then you get to the double timeout, the back-to-back timeout penalty that put them in field goal position, first down. We had to blow 2 straight timeouts. We didn't have timeouts. It literally cost us the game. So to fuck up that bad on offense,
yeah,
to turn around on defense, to do that, you had multiple instances where special teams players didn't know where the ball was.
They're special, all
right.
And
they were running. They were like literally they were booing because one of our Lions players like just ran the other way from the ball as it rolled back 20 yards and put us even deeper in our own end zone.
Yeah.
So like, listen, man, people want to. There's no silver lining to this one. Just bad, unacceptable, and like, you know, I do want to say, like, listen, at a certain point, you got to stop using that you don't have talent as an excuse. Because, listen, a lot of that Bears team that we played against
has no talent.
And I don't care that we're not a good football team. You can't get a win on your own home field when you're leading the game and you have timeouts and then you blow the timeouts and then you just get a holding penalty on every play.
Yeah.
Like, listen, man, like it's just, I get that this is just the Lions and this is just what the Lions do. But like, even at a certain point, you have to fail into a success. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like at least like a broken clock's right twice a day. How does this team find a way to fuck it up at the end every single time? Every time.
Yeah, it really is impressive. In the worst possible way.
It literally, it looks like we're trying to lose.
I was going to bring that up as a joke of like, what if they were purposely doing this to secure that number 1 spot?
Yeah, maybe Dan Campbell just wanted to bring 0-16 to Detroit one more time.
And just to make sure you get another shot at a Matthew Stafford.
Dude,
I mean,
friggin' apparently, because oh my sweet Jesus, this is bad.
I will agree with you. So I still have not given up completely on Dan Campbell as a coach. Now, again,
I don't have any hope in him right now. That's for sure.
I do not think he should be fired. I definitely don't think he will be fired.
No,
and
he won't get fired.
And I think that he's going to be just fine for the next year or so. As I've mentioned many times, this is not the guy that's going to lead the winning Lions team anywhere. I think he's kind of a stopgap for a little bit, get the Lions some good players, see what kind of talent they have, and then replace the coach. But right now, why invest in like a really great coach when you have a lot of absolute nothing? You know what I mean? So like, I get it. For Lions fans, man, it is unacceptable. I get it because it's like even, as a longtime Raiders and Buccaneers fan, it's like, I lived through some failure, but like nothing like the Lions.
Right.
Nothing like the Lions. I mean, even the Raiders have made the playoffs somewhat recently, although technically the Lions did too. The Raiders have made it to a Super Bowl in 2003, 2002, whatever one against the Bucs.
Yep.
And the Bucs have won 2 in the last 20 years. So
right.
Obviously my pain is not even close to yours, but yeah, it's unbelievable. And at some point, it is easy for other people who are fans of other teams to joke about like, oh, it's the Lions and haha. And they kind of like that you can always expect the Lions to be that way.
Yep.
But when you're part of that fan base, it's just horrific. And it's just hurtful after a while,
Well, yeah, it's insulting.
Yeah.
It's insulting to our intelligence. It's insulting to our time. It's insulting to our money.
Yes.
It's insulting financially that they would expect me to pay a cable bill to want to tune in to watch this team on a given weekly basis, let alone to spend my own money to go to a game, buy a ticket, be an active fan that gives you money to support this. Like, why? What's the incentive?
You know what's even worse? Sorry, it was that I looked up season tickets for all 4 Detroit teams.
And the Lions is the most expensive by far. It's got to be.
By far. It's twice the price of basically all of the other 3. And you only get 8 games because it's the NFL versus, you can get 41 or whatever it is in hockey and basketball, or 82 in baseball. So...
Yep.
And you're going to win some games because there's too many that you can't lose them all.
And listen, if you buy a season ticket, I mean, listen, you're the problem.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like that that's just where it is at this point. Like, if you financially support this team with that kind of money significantly each and every year, you are the problem. Why are we supporting this team at all? So that's where I'm at. Listen, the Fords, like Sheila Ford Hemp, like they can say they care, they can say that they feel bad or that they want to win, but
well, I think so far they've shown this season the best that they can as a first step. Like, they can't do anything mid-season. Like, what are they going to do? Trade? Like, no.
I mean, but like you can at least make adjustments like during the season to not like, you know what I mean? Like, you can at least not start Jared Goff every game. You can at least, you know what I'm saying?
I mean,
like,
who else are they going to have though? Like, there's not a lot of other options. Like, it is
okay,
kind of a tough position.
But if you just keep going out and say, well, who else do we have? That's what we have. Then fuck it. Why are we even playing? Well, that's the problem. Like, if you just keep jamming it into a square space, you're like, it's not going through. Like, the solution isn't to just keep trying to jam it into things. I don't know. What other shape? We got triangle. We got square, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you don't just say, oh, well, what else do we got that's better? It's like, listen, it might not even be better, but at least it's fucking something different. At least it's the recognition that something is broken and you have to make a change to fix it.
Well, I agree with you, but it is a tough thing because of a couple of things. Number one, we did see Tim Boyle, and that did not go well.
I'm not claiming that was the definitive thing of just bench Jared Goff and everything's going to get better.
No, I get that, but I have seen some Lions fans bringing up, like, why are we still starting Jared Goff? And the simple answer is this. Number one, you're not going to pick up another quarterback. You're just not right now. Like, there's first of all, there's nobody that's better than him, so why do it? Number two, you are paying him a lot of money, so you kind of have to just do it. Like,
right.
the thing is that the Lions knew what they were getting into this season. They knew ride or die, whether this is the worst quarterback of all time or the best quarterback of all time. We're paying a lot of money to sort of just eat his contract right now.
Yep.
We know that we're going out there to play losing football. We know that the fans are going to be pissed.
They know they're playing losing football. That's
Right.
Lions football. That's what it is.
But I think that they know that this is a season that's going to test Lions fans' patience, as they have every year, but still more than usual with the 0-16-1 potential.
It's going to happen.
And so I get that, but I think that they're truly thinking in their heart of hearts that like they are hopefully going to have the right staff in place to draft the right guys this time around. I mean, not that Stafford wasn't the right guy. He was a great guy. They just didn't build anything after that point. They just kind of got a couple of guys and went rebuild over. And so this time around, I think they're going to try to get another second coming of Stafford and Megatron and then build on that actively. And that's kind of the hope. Well, and the last time they did it, they made the playoffs and they got fucked by the refs a couple times.
But the only way that you're going to get fans to buy into it, because you don't have to just win games in order to get the fans to be on your side. Like literally, just show that you're a different organization. Do the little things. Like, I don't know. Here's a big one that Lions fans have been clamoring for years. This beef you have with Calvin Johnson, let's cut that shit out. How about it?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like all it takes is a couple $1 million
right.
that you owe him.
Right.
And so, I don't know. Seems to me like your greatest wide receiver in the history of the team, first ballot Hall of Famer, all-time great talent, and Calvin Johnson, who you just collectively fucked over his entire time in Detroit.
Wasted his career.
Like, that might not be something that the front office can manage, but you know who can? Ownership. And you know what really hasn't changed? Who owns the Lions? Which even though Sheila Ford Hemp is the new official owner, she's been part of that fucking franchise for years.
Sure.
So it's like at the end of the day, like if you want to show us that this is going to be different and that you really want to change, let's start with that. Or how about let's be more practical. Like let's be honest. Maybe at a certain point a rebrand isn't a fucking bad idea. You know what I mean? Like I understand the Detroit Lions means a lot to Detroit, but you know what else means a lot to Detroit? Not having this kind of fuck up on every Sunday. Like, it's just like, if you want to show that you're different or that you're going to change, let's see some fucking change.
Yeah.
Because, listen, just bringing in new coaches and eventually bringing in new all-time great players that we waste their careers, which we've done with 3 all-time great talents.
Right.
Which, by the way, people that thought Matt Stafford was the problem, here's your proof.
Yeah, he wasn't the problem.
What do you need now?
Although as of late, he hasn't exactly been the solution for the Rams. But
I mean, they'll turn that shit around.
That's the hope anyway. For them.
I think they get bored. You know what I'm saying? Like they're
I hate to tell you this, but they definitely are not getting bored. I think they just suck right now, Sean. There's not enough games to get bored. There is in baseball, but there ain't in football.
Oh yeah,
Listen, man, I totally understand the frustration, especially because like. I think the way you sound is very similar to the 0-16 season, though, is it's just like the frustration, and I think that they will start to turn around. You guys probably will make the playoffs, and it'll seem like it's different again, like it did at that time, too.
And I understand, but you don't want to hear that when you're down, when you're going.
Well, no one wanted to hear it then.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is like, like at a certain point, like, yeah, I get we're rebuilding, but if you were to tell me, hey, the Pistons are rebuilding,
sure,
I'm like, okay, we're not going to win. We're going to go 0-82.
Yeah, that's fucked.
I'm like, okay. So little problem. You don't want to go 0-82.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do to change that? Oh, well, I mean, hey, who else?
Yeah, no, I get that.
Like, listen, like there's a rebuild, which I am all for. But at this point, we are more than in a cushion to where we could win one game.
Right.
And so... like you want to see signs of life with this with this team and with this organization and with the head coach. Like that's what you want to see out of a rebuild is that you at least start with a sign of life. And this shit looks dead on arrival.
Well, I think the only argument I'll have with you on that is the fact that now this past game was abysmal and just a travesty to watch on the field. But there's been games in the past this season that have looked great that you should have won, especially that one against the Ravens where they kicked like a 90-yard field goal or some bullshit.
Yeah, the longest field goal. Like which
like
again,
shit like that. It's like you guys should have won that. You guys got fucked by God on that one.
Well,
like
yeah,
I don't even know what
listen,
happened.
We're Lions fans. Of course, that happens. But but here's the thing. Just as much as we've had that, we've had twice as many games where we should have won it and we just fucked it up.
Yeah, for sure.
I understand. Like, there are certain games where it's like, okay, well, what can you do in that one, right?
For sure.
Like, especially the Ravens game. That's insane. But when you have just as many, if not more games that you can point at, like, here's the thing. Even the game we tied.
Yeah.
What the hell happened there?
Well, Jared Goff was basically a skeleton out there with broken everything, and it was just a mess. Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't run the ball. We couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah.
God forbid we make the decision to have someone that's physically able-bodied out on the field.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the adjustments where it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, you're like, oh, well, I mean, yeah, but Tim Boyle's not that good. Well, at least Tim Boyle could stand not uncomfortably.
Yeah, that's somewhat fair.
So, like, it's like little things, because, like, I would wager if you put in a different quarterback, he at least could have gotten you a field goal drive. And that's the other thing.
Sure.
It's every function of the field. We can't kick. We can't defend. We can't score. Is there anything we can do?
Yeah, that's fair. And I think they are trying, I think. And I think in the heat of those moments, I think
that's the worst part. They're trying.
Yeah,
that makes it worse.
Yeah, I guess so. I think that this is basically not by design, but I think this is just kind of what happens when you just literally all at once tear apart every single thing that's worth a fuck on your team.
Which, again, I agree with.
Every single thing.
But again, it comes back to there has to be some sign of life in this new coaching regime. And, like, if you can't even get me a win, how do I believe that there's a sign of life? Because you can only have so many moral victories, but moral victories don't show up under the W column.
I think it's just the chase for the Matthew Stafford, because I think that Lions fans, once they got Stafford, that made it worth it.
Well, yeah, but again, that's just a circle. Like, listen, I love Matthew Stafford. I don't want another Matthew Stafford era. I don't want another, we get a great quarterback that we don't win a fucking playoff game era. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
no, yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's kind of the thing that is very frustrating of, like, I think when I would get really disheartened is if they do get another Stafford and they do treat it identical, where they have like one wide receiver and they don't make any major moves after that, and they're just like, rebuild done, good luck. Like, that was when I would probably get concerned. I think right now I'm just looking at it kind of like, well, this is by design anyways. It reminds me of like the current Arizona Coyotes. They have like, I don't know, 4 wins or some shit. And it's just one of those things where like they literally traded away every single starting skater that like was worth a single fuck on that franchise. Mm-hmm. Like, it's literally almost as if you and I are out there on skates. Like, it's fucking garbage. And so, you know, Coyotes fans who have also been treated pretty much almost as bad as Lions fans. I mean, they've only been around since the 90s, but they've had absolutely nothing to smile about forever, and they've been told that their team is going to get relocated pretty much since they came into the league, which is a really fucked thing to tell a fan, especially when you become like really emotionally invested, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, you know, it is frustrating, but it's one of those things where when they're starting over completely and they make you a promise, yeah, it's very easy to be skeptical and stuff like that, but the hope is see this through 16-1, get that draft pick, and then for the love of Christ, do it right this time. Like, don't fuck us again. Because I think that the Lions, if they fuck us again, you know what I mean? Well, just like, then it does reach the point of like, well, you might as well relocate the team or sell them or do something, because it's like, fuck you.
Well, at what point? Well, but here's the thing. Yeah, I understand that, but like, we haven't won a championship of any form since 1952.
7. Yeah. 57. Okay. My bad.
Oh, fine. Like, what?
Yeah, it was an NFL championship in 57. Yep. Which barely matters.
Well, now that you made that, now that they won it 5 years sooner than I thought, my point is now null and void.
Sorry, I was just correcting it just for the record. That was all that was.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Anyway, God damn.
Listen, my bad. I knew someone might, you know, in the comments be like, "Hey, dumbass, they were 57." Because you know how people do that shit. I'm just, you know, my bad.
So anyway,
but yeah, it's frustrating.
But it's the thing of, you know, listen, like, I am all about that idea of if they do it again, then it's ridiculous. But here's the thing. They've done it again 14 times in a row. Like, at what point do we just say the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting shit to change? Sure. The Lions have not changed their approach literally at all.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, like, what is the oh, well, yeah, this is the thing that's understandable, but if it happens again, then we're the dopes.
Sure.
It's like, it's like, no, like, listen, I'm at the point where, like, every Thanksgiving, no matter who that person is with that headset on that's calling the plays, no matter who that bumbling idiot is under the center getting the ball to throw it to someone, whoever that sorry son of a bitch is that has to try and run behind that offensive line, whoever that sad sack of shit is that goes home and drinks all night because he's the defensive end for the Detroit Lions, whoever that one good player on the team is that punts for us. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you didn't say kicker because you've not had a good kicker since Prater, basically.
Yeah.
And he was fine.
Yeah. Prater was, but so like, it's the thing of like, yeah, everything you're saying is right. And I can't disagree with you, but like, it just
from an emotional standpoint, it's fucking, you're done. I get it.
Well, yeah, it's just
and that's fair to feel that way.
Yeah. And here's the thing. And this is what it ultimately leads to. What happens to this team for the rest of the year? I couldn't give less of a fuck. I'm not watching a single game. I'm not watching a single down.
Sure.
Listen, I will watch enough to talk about it. And I will watch enough to have an opinion and to talk analytically about what's happening with the Detroit Lions. But at this point in time, I am fucking bought out. And it's going to take a hell of a lot to get me to buy back in. At this point, emotionally, off the table. I am solely just a observer from afar, which is kind of where I'm at in life in general, but that's okay.
Well, and it's tough, man.
Because this has been the therapy podcast this entire time. No, I'm kidding.
Well, it kind of, that's just the way that Detroit goes, man. That's just Detroit sports in a nutshell as of the last fucking 2 decades, it feels like. But
borderline couples counseling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but, and again, I'm not trying to relate my pain from a very, like, one-to-one perspective, but, from the Raiders standpoint, a little more than the Bucks as of recently, obviously. But, like, the Raiders, it's just been the same thing for I don't know, probably 30 years where they're just like, all right, guys, we're going to draft a bunch of guys who have like really bad character issues that are pretty well known.
But they can run fast.
And it's just like, we're pretty sure that this guy is going to fuck up and probably break the law or kill somebody.
If only they told him that police cars are a little faster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But no, it's just like one of those things, the Raiders, they have tried to be like this haven for like this thug image almost, because they try to embrace like that hard kind of whatever, which is kind of cool for like a minute, but after a while it starts to wear on you where you're like, yeah, but like imagine if we had not done that and there was like the guys that were right before or right after them who were an amazing Hall of Fame player who were way fucking better than them that we could have had instead. Like, we could have actually been good.
Imagine if we didn't do that.
And, like, every now and again, they luck into a generational talent that sort of propels them to a Super Bowl or at least a championship, like something like that. Like, they get close.
So, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
If they're going after guys that can run well, why'd they go after Jamarcus Russell?
Dude, don't do that to me. That's such a... Oh, no.
I mean...
that's such a wound. That hurts so bad. Oh God, I still can't believe that.
The Stephen A. Smith Jamarcus Russell thing. It came across my TikTok last night. I was laughing so hard because man, that was just the golden era of sports media. Was Jamarcus Russell's fat years. My favorite.
Yeah, man, fuck. That was the worst. That just brought up so much pain. But, like, dude.
Hey, now you can relate 1-to-1 with my pain.
Well, it is one of those things, though. It's like, I understand your pain even more because I'm like, fuck. The Raiders have done nothing but embarrass me, and even they lucked into a Super Bowl twice in the last 20 years because they went to one and lost to the Bucks by a lot, and then they made it to another one and got fucked. Well, they didn't make it to one. They got fucked in the championship round by the Patriots and Tom Brady. So, like,
listen, it's one of those things where the Cubs went 120 years or whatever it was without winning a World Series.
They sure did.
Even they won a World Series. Like
although
the line,
yours is a longer or a less long drought than that, so you got a few more years to go, my dude. You got a couple decades.
This pizza palace is over. Get something storms out.
But no, I do relate from that standpoint, and it has been very frustrating as a Raiders fan and seeing like. No matter what, it just seems like Mark Davis is just going to kind of keep doing the same bullshit over and over again. And just when you think that he's changed and you just start to think that he's investing in the team to like bring in some stars. Next thing you know, you have Antonio Brown freezing his feet off, and you've got your top draft picks threatening to or actually killing somebody and being off the team.
And then
and
then they trade Amari Cooper just cuz.
Yeah, basically. They were
Just
like,
'cause.
he's really kind of been sucking ass like this past season, like, in his sophomore slump. And we just think that that's probably about his ceiling. So you're gone. And then he broke out of his sophomore slump, like most players do.
Uh-huh.
And now he's great for the Cowboys. And same thing also with Khalil Mack. They were just like, man, we're kind of building something. Fuck him. Let's send him to the Bears. Okay.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if I have to watch the Bears get one more generational player kind of talent
just waste.
To just listen. Let us waste them. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like if they're gonna get wasted, at least let them do it in Honolulu blue. You know what I mean?
And I agree with that, man, because it's frustrating. I'm like, why is this dude not in silver and black, wasting talent? Like, why? Like, I don't get it. So
welcome to Lions training camp. Repeat after me. I have no talent.
But yeah, man, that's been the Raider report. And yeah, the Buccaneers, they were the same thing for a little while there. I was this close to giving up, and you were there with me when it was like we had what seemed like all these great talents. Like, we had such an amazing roster. You got Mike Evans, Levante David, Gerald McCoy, who unfortunately didn't get to win the championship with us. I mean, there was just all these dudes that were coming together on this team, and I was like, this is a fucking great team we're starting to sort of put together, and they had Jameis Winston at the helm. But yeah, it's just like, Jameis Winston was garbage, and then we also went through two coaches because we had Lovie Smith for 2 years, who was actually a pretty good coach, and then they were just like, well, he's not good enough. We're actually winning. No, because Dirk Cutter was such a great coordinator that we just couldn't let him go.
And
he was terrible.
And then the Grudenizer.
No, that was the Raiders, the Bucks. I'm talking about. Yeah. They get Dirk Cutter, and then of course, then Bruce Arians, then Tom Brady happened. So then it was fine.
Yep. But hey, they also solved their problems by bringing in John Gruden.
They kind of did
20 years ago. Yeah.
And
then he immediately wrecked ship.
Yeah. I still wish that we had done that with Tony Dungy, but it's fine. But no, it is a frustrating thing with the NFL. But like, the thing that does give hope with the NFL is that it is the type of league that for whatever reason you can turn around a lot quicker than any other league.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of it. Like, the Buccaneers were literally just losing season, like winning 2 games in a year and just being this piss poor garbage. And 2 years later, they get Tom Brady and go to the Super Bowl and win. So it's like, and of course that takes getting that, but like, who's to say, and of course I don't think this will happen, but like, who's to say that Aaron Rodgers and friends don't just come over to the Lions for whatever reason to fuck the Packers and they go and win you guys the Super Bowl like next year?
I'm to say.
Well, obviously, but like, you know what I'm saying though? It's technically, if it can happen to the Bucks, I'm now convinced that it can happen to just about any team, because I thought that there was no chance in hell I would ever see this team turn around, and they kind of just did.
That's all I'm saying. Tom Brady is not the GOAT until he wins the Super Bowl for Detroit. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, I've kind of low-key wished that would happen. That'd be kind of sick.
It'd be great.
Like, just to see if he could do it. Because honestly, I don't know if he could, but it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think, we've covered the Pistons, of course.
I think we covered everything, man.
Yeah, the Lions not winning, unfortunately, on Thanksgiving. Was there any other, like, big stuff that happened? Obviously, the Tigers.
I mean, the Red Wings haven't changed, have they?
Not really. They've kind of really hit a bit of a snag, which sucks. Although Lucas Raymond still continues to just, I love this kid so much.
Yeah.
He got a overtime winner the other night, which was cool. And I think he's the only guy to do it in his teens, other than like Iserman or something like that. So very, very few teenagers that go and and win overtime games like that. So he's gonna be pretty special.
Yeah.
So
well, hey. Here, who knows? At some point, we might be recording this podcast, and we might have good Detroit teams. Maybe.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a while.
It's gonna be a little bit of a wait. We're gonna be about 5 seasons in.
Maybe for the Red Wings and maybe for the Tigers, but the Pistons and the Lions.
This podcast is over.
Anyways, peace out, man. Ow.
Ow.